Good evening, a good vach. Wishing you all a wonderful week ahead as we conclude Shabbos. Here is your daily mitzvah, the 39th day. 39th? Yeah, 39th day. For today, continuing the laws of Shabbos, and today we do a new mitzvah. Today's mitzvah, and you got to listen in carefully, it's different than the previous mitzvah we've been learning, is the prohibition from doing work on Shabbos. As the verse says, coming from the Ten Commandments, Lo yisasa chol malacha, and you shall not do any work on the holy day of Shabbos. Now, yesterday and the day before we learned the mitzvah, which was a positive mitzvah, that there's a mitzvah to rest. Today we learned the prohibition, and you shall not do any work. So the same mitzvah really comes in a positive form, that it's a mitzvah to rest, and in the prohibitive form, it's forbidden to do work. And in today's Rambam, the Rambam walks us through the 39 major categories of prohibited types of work, 39 which all come from the work that was done to either build, prepare, or for the services of the Beis HaMikdash and the tabernacle that the Jews did in the desert. That's where it all comes from. And it's all related to planting and fiber weaving and building. The 39 categories, but they also do with that. But the Rambam tells us that each of these 39 major categories have children as well, which means you would hear that there is a prohibition against winnowing. What's winnowing? That you would take freshly cut stalks of wheat, and after they were, I'm getting all the words right over here, after they were threshed, after they were taken to the threshing floor to break them all apart, you would winnow them, which means you would throw them up in the air to separate the kernels from all the shafts. So you would say, well, okay, that's good. 21st century, 2024, I'm not doing any of that. But the Rambam says, but 1 second. But a derivative of that prohibition would be removing the nut from its shell, because you're doing the same act. You're removing and separating the unwanted husk, and you're taking out the kernel, the goodness, the fruit from the inside. So all of a sudden you realize that these 39 categories carry within each of them something which is actually very relevant to our lives today. The same thing, you're not allowed to grind on Shabbos, which is basically the act of taking the kernels of wheat and grinding them to create flour. Okay, well, good news, I'm not doing any of that today. But the Rambam says, 1 second. If you are making a salad, like an Israeli salad, where you cut the vegetables into very small pieces, if you cut the vegetables too small, that could be considered grinding. It's small enough that it would be included in this prohibition. So the Rambam, today's Rambam begins teaching us these 39 categories and all the laws that come with it. And that's really the bulk of the laws of Shabbos, of really understanding what these 39 categories are, what each of the derivatives of these 39 categories are, and giving us all the variables so that we could keep Shabbos properly. And dear friends, that is today's daily mitzvah. Hope you all had a wonderful Shabbos. Wish you all a wonderful week ahead. We'll see you all tomorrow for the next daily mitzvah. Sei gesund.